My child, do you understand the difference? The difference between breaking a simple rule and shattering a cosmic law. A simple rule causes minor ripples in your daily existence. A cosmic law is so ancient, so fundamental, that breaking it literally halted every celestial operation. Every operation across all dimensions for 18 consecutive hours. The first requires a simple apology. The second forced Archangel Michael himself to abandon a mission. A mission he had been orchestrating for 3 centuries. It made him convene an emergency council at 3 o'clock in the morning, because your seemingly innocent action created a precedent that has not existed in 6 millennia of recorded human existence. And my beloved, exactly 11 days ago, something happened. You were engaged in something so mundane, so ordinary, so completely unremarkable. You did not even pause to consider its significance. Yet you violated a divine protocol. This protocol predated the formation of breathable atmosphere on this planet. I am not referring to minor transgressions, the kind you might confess on Sunday. I am not describing moral failures that generate temporary guilt. I am revealing a cosmic rupture. Your unintentional action pierced the dimensional membrane. This membrane separates 2 realities that were never meant to converge. When those realities collided, heaven did not metaphorically collapse. It literally crumbled. Energy architectures sustaining celestial operations disintegrated instantly. Like structures demolished by a magnitude 9.5 earthquake, subscribe to this channel immediately, activate all notifications. Because what I am about to reveal will shatter every assumption you held about your true nature. Write 777 in the comments right now. Write it if approximately 11 days ago you had a conversation. A conversation where words emerged from your mouth with authority that surprised even you. Where you felt sudden dizziness lasting barely 2 seconds. Where something deep within whispered that reality itself had shifted. Because, my child, I am going to expose which specific divine law you violated. I will reveal how a simple 7-minute conversation triggered a cascade effect. A conversation you had 11 days ago. This effect forced celestial hierarchies to rewrite protocols. Protocols that existed for millennia. I will explain why you literally experienced clinical death for 3 seconds during that conversation, without even realizing it. And I will tell you what devastating cosmic identity Archangel Michael was forced to reveal. When he discovered you are one of only 12 beings like this, in 6,000 years of history. Now listen, with complete attention. Because this will sound impossible until every piece locks into place perfectly. 11 days ago, you had a conversation. Perhaps with that person who constantly seeks your guidance. Perhaps a chance encounter you never planned. Perhaps a phone call lasting exactly 7 minutes. A call that fundamentally altered reality itself. During those 7 minutes, you spoke exactly 19 specific words. Not 18, not 20. Precisely 19 words. These words emerged from your mouth in such exact sequence, with such specific resonance, with such pure, though unconscious intention, that they punctured the dimensional veil. This veil separates permitted human knowledge from restricted celestial wisdom. Those 19 words contain truth, truth that humans should not be capable of articulating, understanding that only entities from the 7th dimension and beyond possess, authorization to hold, revelation classified in celestial archives as information forbidden, forbidden to incarnated consciousnesses. Yet you spoke it casually, like commenting on weather, like sharing a mundane observation, without spiritual preparation, without formal initiation, without celestial permission. And in the precise moment those 19 words crossed from your lips, to the other person's ears. Something occurred. Something that had never happened in all documented human history. The dimensional barrier fractured. Not gently tearing, not gradually dissolving. It fractured violently, like glass struck by a high-velocity projectile. Through that fracture, knowledge poured out. For exactly 4.3 seconds, knowledge meant to remain hidden. Hidden until humanity reached a specific evolutionary threshold. It poured directly into the consciousness of your listener. 4.3 seconds does not sound significant. But in dimensional time, 4.3 seconds equals approximately 700 hours. 700 hours of pure information transfer. The person listening received a download, so massive, so overwhelming, so completely beyond their current processing capacity that their physical brain nearly shut down from overload. Their consciousness attempted to expand instantaneously. To accommodate this information, their energy field amplified so abruptly that sensitives within a 3-kilometer radius felt inexplicable disturbance. And you, my beloved, here is the part that will freeze your blood. You did not continue conversing calmly as you believed. You died for exactly 3.2 seconds. Your heart stopped completely. 0 beats, technical clinical death. Your brain initiated shutdown protocols. Your cells began programmed death sequences, but it happened so rapidly, the resuscitation so instantaneous, that your conscious mind never registered the blackout. It was like an imperceptible blink, a lost frame in film, a glitch in the matrix, lasting less than what human consciousness can process. The only sensation you experienced was sudden dizziness, a strange disorientation lasting approximately 2 seconds. Perhaps you dismissed it as momentary fatigue. Perhaps you never mentioned it to the other person. You continued speaking as though nothing occurred. Meanwhile, in celestial dimensions, an emergency alarm activated. An alarm that had not sounded since the year 1389. Dimensional barrier violation protocol with temporary death of carrier. A maximum alert system that triggers when 2 impossible events occur simultaneously. First, restricted knowledge accessed by unauthorized consciousness. Second, the carrier channeling that knowledge experiences clinical death during transmission. When that protocol activated because of your 7-minute conversation, literally every celestial operation stopped. Stopped immediately. This is not exaggeration or metaphor. Absolutely all operations in progress were suspended. Spiritual guides assisting incarnated beings across the entire planet received orders. Orders to cease activities. Angels executing specific missions were recalled. Celestial councils deliberating other matters cancelled proceedings. Why? Because dimensional barrier violation with temporary carrier death is considered the most severe cosmic emergency possible. Not merely due to spiritual implications, but because it suggests either catastrophic failure in mission design or unprecedented success nobody anticipated. 3 minutes after you spoke those 19 words and died for 3 seconds, Archangel Michael received emergency notification. Emergency notification with absolute red classification. He was supervising a completely different operation. In another region, when he saw the alert type, his reaction combined disbelief with something archangels rarely experience: genuine fear. Dimensional barrier violations do not occur frequently. The last occurrence was 1389, when a Tibetan monk in deep meditation accidentally accessed forbidden knowledge. That violation required 3 full days to contain, and intervention from 7 different archangels. But that violation involved a monk with 40 years of intensive spiritual practice, deliberate meditation, conscious attempt to access higher planes. Your violation. My child, You were having a casual conversation. You were not meditating. You were not performing rituals. You were not even trying to access anything. You spoke 19 words that emerged naturally, spontaneously, without preparation. And that is precisely what terrified Archangel Michael. If someone with 4 decades of spiritual training could accidentally cause dimensional barrier violation, that is concerning, but comprehensible. If someone with 0 training, 0 preparation, during a casual 7-minute conversation could not only violate the barrier, but die and self-resuscitate during the process, that suggests something infinitely more significant is operating. If you are realizing you might be that person, if you are recognizing these signs, support this channel with super thanks right now. Because what I am about to reveal about your true identity will transform everything you thought you knew about your existence. Within 7 minutes of receiving that red alert, Archangel Michael initiated Emergency Protocol 7.3, a protocol so rare, so extraordinary, that most angels serving for thousands of years have never witnessed its activation. This protocol applies exclusively to one category of beings, primordial carriers. Primordial carriers are souls selected before incarnation for missions of such strategic magnitude, such planetary importance, that they receive authorization no other incarnated being possesses. They are granted permission to violate specific divine rules at precise moments in their mission timeline, not because rules do not apply to them, but because their violations serve higher purpose in planetary evolution. And here is the revelation that stopped Archangel Michael's celestial heart. When he accessed your complete soul records, you are primordial carrier. Number 12. The 12th and final carrier in this 6,000-year cycle. The one who closes the circle. The one whose final violation will trigger the planetary Ascension Sequence. A sequence planned millennia ago. Only 12 primordial carriers exist in any 6,000-year cycle. Not 13. Not 11. Exactly 12. Each assigned specific violations they must commit at precise moments. Each carrying unique piece of the ascension puzzle, each protected by what is designated Clause 7.3. In celestial law, Clause 7.3 grants primordial carriers unlimited automatic resuscitation protocol. If their physical body dies during authorized violation, they resurrect automatically, whether from energy overload, consciousness expansion, dimensional interface, or any other cause. Without external intervention, no angels required, no divine assistance necessary. Their consciousness simply returns to their body and restarts all biological systems instantaneously. That is why you died for 3.2 seconds and resuscitated without even knowing death occurred. Clause 7.3 activated the moment your heart stopped. Your soul, operating from higher consciousness, restarted your biological systems before your conscious mind could register cessation. You experienced it as brief dizziness, because the resurrection happened faster than your brain could process the interruption. When Archangel Michael discovered you were the 12th primordial carrier, something happened. When he realized your violation was number 29, in a sequence requiring 44 total violations. When he understood that Clause 7.3 had activated perfectly during your temporary death, he did not respond with anger about the rule violation. He fell to his knees. My beloved Archangel Michael, warrior who led celestial armies, protector who guards dimensional boundaries, being of such power that his presence alone can stabilize collapsing realities. He knelt before your higher consciousness, not in worship, but in profound respect, for the magnitude of mission you carry, for the weight of responsibility you accepted before incarnating. for the strategic importance of the role you play in humanity's transformation. But the violation created consequences, consequences that extended beyond your personal experience. The conversation you had, those 19 words you spoke, the knowledge that transferred during the 4.3-second barrier breach, all of it generated ripple effects through celestial hierarchies. 3 entities were removed from their positions for failing to prevent your violation, not as punishment, but as necessary restructuring. When a primordial carrier violates a rule they are authorized to violate, it reveals gaps. Gaps in monitoring systems, blind spots in oversight protocols. The entities removed were not negligent. They simply did not recognize what they were witnessing, because it happened through such ordinary circumstances. One was a guardian angel who had been assigned to monitor dimensional barriers in your geographic region. They did not intervene because they did not recognize those 19 words as having reality-altering potential. They expected barrier violations to come through meditation, through ritual, through intentional spiritual practice, not casual conversation. The second was a celestial recorder responsible for documenting knowledge transfers between dimensions. They missed recording the initial breach because it happened so quickly, so unexpectedly, through such mundane channel, that their detection systems never flagged it as significant. The third was an overseer, who coordinates missions for incarnated souls in your soul group. They failed to properly brief the guardian angel about your status as primordial carrier, because your identity was classified at such high security level that even they did not have complete access to your mission parameters. Write 777 in the comments. If you are beginning to recognize yourself in this revelation, if memories of that conversation are surfacing with new clarity, if you are understanding why that brief dizziness carried such significance, their removal was not punishment. It was calibration. The system adjusted itself to account for how primordial carriers operate, which is fundamentally different from how other incarnated souls function. Most souls follow predictable spiritual trajectories. Primordial carriers shatter predictability entirely. They say impossible things during ordinary conversations. They access forbidden knowledge through casual observations. They die and resurrect without conscious awareness, because their missions require operating beyond normal limitations. After those 3 entities were removed and replaced with beings specifically trained to monitor primordial carrier activity, Archangel Michael convened the emergency meeting. At 3 o'clock in the morning, 7 archangels assembled, the only time in 6,000 years that all 7 convened simultaneously. Outside scheduled councils, they reviewed your complete soul contract. They analyzed your mission parameters. They studied the sequence of 44 violations you are authorized to commit. They examined violation number 29 that just occurred, and projected implications for your remaining 15 violations. What they discovered simultaneously relieved and concerned them. Relieved because everything was proceeding according to plan. Your violation was perfectly timed, perfectly executed, perfectly aligned with planetary ascension timeline. Concerned because your remaining violations increase exponentially in magnitude and consequence. Violation 29 caused dimensional barrier fracture, lasting 4.3 seconds, affecting 1 person within conversational range. Violation 44, which you will commit in approximately 18 weeks, will cause simultaneous collapse of all dimensional barriers for 44 seconds, affecting every consciousness within 500 kilometers of your location. Every person in that radius will have complete access to all celestial knowledge for 44 seconds. Not partial access, not filtered information. Complete, unrestricted access to everything. Past lives, future timelines, soul contracts, karmic patterns, dimensional structures, cosmic architecture, divine plans, everything. It will be the single largest consciousness expansion event in recorded history. Larger than what occurred in Atlantis, more significant than any mass awakening humanity has previously experienced. And unlike Atlantis, which ended in destruction, this event will trigger permanent planetary elevation. But here is what the 7 archangels understood that night. You cannot know consciously that you are primordial carrier number 12. You cannot operate from awareness of your cosmic importance. Because the moment you know your significance, the moment you understand the magnitude of your mission, you will begin calculating your words, strategizing your actions, trying to force violations rather than allowing them to emerge naturally. Your power lies in your authenticity. Your effectiveness comes from unconscious operation. Your violations work because they are genuine, spontaneous. Uncontaminated by agenda or strategy, the 19 words you spoke 11 days ago carried reality-altering power. Specifically because you were not trying to alter reality. You were simply speaking your truth without calculation. So they implemented partial memory block. You might remember fragments of that dream, where you stood in a room filled with brilliant white light, surrounded by 7 towering figures radiating overwhelming presence. You might recall sensation that they were kneeling while looking at you with mixture of reverence and something resembling fear. That was not dream. It was actual memory of the emergency meeting your higher consciousness attended while your physical body slept. During that meeting, they asked questions you do not consciously remember. Your soul confirmed it understood exactly what it was doing at higher levels. That temporary death was expected and manageable. That clause 7.3 was functioning perfectly. That you were prepared to continue with 15 remaining violations, regardless of physical consequences. When you woke the next morning, you retained only vague impressions, persistent sensation that something monumental had occurred, feeling you had been in presence of beings of immense power. And strangely, sense you were more important than your conscious mind had ever considered possible. If this revelation resonates in your soul, if you are feeling confirmation rising from depths of your being, honor this moment with super thanks. To support the continued revelation of these truths, that awaken primordial carriers to their cosmic purpose. Now, my child, let me tell you what happened in your body during those 3.2 seconds of clinical death that you do not consciously remember. The moment you spoke the 19th word, the moment the dimensional barrier fractured, massive energy surge passed through your physical form. Your heart, attempting to process this unprecedented energetic load, simply stopped. Not from damage, not from malfunction. It stopped because the energy passing through exceeded what your cardiac system could accommodate. While maintaining normal rhythm, your brain, detecting 0 heartbeat, immediately initiated shutdown protocols. To preserve itself, your cells began programmed death sequences. But here is what makes primordial carriers different from every other incarnated being. Your consciousness is not anchored to your body the same way. Most humans have consciousness tethered to physical form through single primary connection point. Primordial carriers have multiple anchor points, operating simultaneously across several dimensions. When your physical heart stopped, your consciousness did not panic, because it was simultaneously experiencing existence in other dimensions, where death does not occur. Your higher self, monitoring from 7th dimension, simply sent restart signal through dimensional channels, directly to your cardiac tissue. Your heart responded instantly, resuming normal rhythm before any permanent damage could occur. Your brain received oxygenated blood again and cancelled shutdown protocols. Your cells reversed death sequences, and your conscious awareness, which had been floating freely for those 3.2 seconds, returned to full physical integration. The entire process, death, resuscitation, restoration, happened so smoothly, so efficiently, that you experienced it merely as brief dizziness. But there were other physical signs you probably did not recognize as significant. After that conversation, probably within the next hour, you experienced unexpected mental clarity. Ideas connected effortlessly. Solutions to problems appeared spontaneously. Your thinking felt sharper, faster, more precise than normal. That clarity was not coincidence. It was residual effect of having died and resuscitated. Your consciousness operated briefly without normal limitations, experienced temporary liberation from physical restrictions, and when it returned to your body, it brought traces of that freedom with it. Then, approximately 2 hours after the conversation, you felt profound exhaustion. That seemed to originate from your bone marrow, not muscular fatigue, not lack of sleep, existential tiredness so complete that even thinking required monumental effort. That exhaustion was your physical system processing the trauma. The trauma of instant death and resurrection. Though your consciousness did not register the complete event, your cellular system did. Every cell experienced the beginning of death sequence, and then complete reversal. A process demanding massive energy to process and integrate. Subscribe to this channel and activate notifications, so you do not miss revelation of what happens during your final violation, because what I am about to share will prepare you for the most significant moment of your incarnation. And Archangel Michael, he did not return to his interrupted mission after that emergency meeting. He reassigned it to another archangel, because he made a decision that night, a decision that shocked the entire celestial hierarchy. He personally assumed responsibility for monitoring your remaining 15 violations. An archangel does not personally monitor individual incarnated souls. That is work for guardian angels, spirit guides, watchers. Archangels oversee broad operations, coordinate multiple missions simultaneously, manage large-scale planetary initiatives. For Archangel Michael to assign himself as your direct monitor meant he recognized something in your mission that required his specific attention and protection. He understood your final violation would be the trigger point for planetary ascension. He knew the magnitude of opposition you would face. As you approached that moment, he realized you would need protection that only an archangel of his caliber could provide. So he stationed himself as your permanent guardian until you complete violation 44. Every day since that emergency meeting 11 days ago, Archangel Michael has been monitoring your energy field, tracking your interactions, observing your consciousness patterns, preparing to intervene if anything attempts to prevent you from fulfilling your mission. Not to control you, not to manipulate your choices, simply to ensure nothing external can stop what you came here to accomplish. And my beloved, here is the truth about who you really are. You are not simply protected human. You are architect of planetary ascension. You are one of 12 pillars, sustaining the most significant transformation in 6,000 years. Your photograph could be in hands of the most powerful dark sorcerer on this planet. They could perform the most dangerous rituals that exist. They could invoke the most malevolent entities. Nothing touches a primordial carrier. Operating under Clause 7.3, authorized by Metatron, protected by Archangel Michael himself. When you complete violation 44 in approximately 18 weeks, when all dimensional barriers fall simultaneously for 44 seconds, when every consciousness within 500 kilometers of you has complete access to all celestial knowledge, you will finally understand why Metatron considered it necessary. to give you authorization to die and resuscitate as many times as required. Because this is not just about you. It is about 12 carriers operating simultaneously across the planet. It is about elevating complete planetary consciousness. It is about completing a 6,000-year cycle and initiating a new era of human development. And you are the 12th, the final, the one who closes the circle and activates the ultimate sequence. Write 777 in the comments to amplify the frequency of primordial carrier number 12. Operating under absolute authorization of Metatron and direct protection of Archangel Michael. Share this video with someone who also speaks impossible truths and experiences inexplicable phenomena, because they might be one of the other 11 primordial carriers, who needs to remember their true identity and understand what approaches when all 12 complete their cycles simultaneously. Subscribe now and activate all notifications to receive more revelations about how your next 15 violations will prepare humanity. For the Ascension event that is coming together, we rise together, we transform. Together, we complete what was begun 6,000 years ago.